Okay, so as I was telling Sith Jack, this outside design here, what I call tattoos, I was going to demonstrate, and then also the different effects that you can put on them. I thought I would do that as well. So I've got this file here, and so this is basically the kind of the basic shape that I've been using lately, and the tattoo that I used was this one right here, and I'll upload that, but I thought I would do a different one that I haven't done yet, and this is the one I'm gonna use. So basically, this is a JPEG, so it's got the white background right now, and first thing I usually do is try to clean it up as best I can and get rid of the background. And so there's a few filters that do a really good job of that in Gmake. So here it is. As you can see, if you look at it, it's not perfect. It's got some, little specks and whatnot here. So what I usually do is I go into repair first off, and this noise reduction is real nice, because if you look, you see what happens if that's what it looked like a second ago, but this filter will make it look like that. So I want to apply that, and then it does it one more time after that, or it'll keep doing as often as you apply. So I'm going to clean it one more time. I hit apply, and so it looks pretty good. It's always easy to remove the background. I find if it's just as solid a one color as possible, white in this case. So after that, I just go up to detail, and this local contrast enhancement really kind of emphasizes the two, the black and the white. So again, you can see some more refinement of the separating of the two black and white. So I'm going to just apply that quick, and maybe one more time. It also adds to the design, so you don't want to do it too often, or your shape will start to it'll start to lose shape. I think I might run that through repair again, just kind of smooth it up. The anti-alias is always a good one to use. It just kind of makes the lines smoother, and so I'm going to apply that. But again, it also does change the basic shape, so you don't want to do it too often. That should be good. So this is already a lot better than it was. I don't have all the little specks and whatnot. So in GIMP, this tool right here, select by color. So if I select white, no matter where there is that same color, it will select it. So all the white is selected. But as you can see, it's going to leave this edge in here with the different gray tones and whatnot. So if I grow it by a pixel, that should probably take care of that. You'll see it actually probably a little more so than well, let's see what happens. So now I'm just going to delete the white. So I just hit delete, and as you can see, if I select none, there is still some messiness here. The nice thing about this is you select that color, it'll pick up that same color wherever it appears on the image. And I can delete it from there and whatnot. Now if I take the white out, it kind of gives you an idea of what all that's left. And now, there's still a little bit too much white in here. There we go. That should probably take most of the offending white out of there. Let's see. Select none. Yeah, I think that's going to be. That. Okay, so again, select none. Now I just have the black on transparency, so I think I'm going to make it smooth it out a little bit more by going back in. Okay, now anti-Alias is one of those that will put the background back in the picture, even if it's something that had a background at one time. It'll put it back. I'm not sure exactly how it leaves some sort of fingerprint, and it knows what was there at one time. But now if we pick this one down here, smooth anti-alias, it does not put the background in it, but it does do the same effect on those lines so that they're not so choppy. So I'm going to apply that maybe one more time, and that should be plenty, I think. So now I got a pretty good design. The only thing about that one is it, as you can see, it puts a little white back in. So a little bit of a trade-off. It's not all that bad to have that little bit of an outline, I find anyway. Yeah, it's fine. I can live with that. You won't hardly notice it. Plus, if you add a gradient, that'll go away anyway. So now I have this basic design here, and first thing I want to do is I want to probably stretch it out a little bit so I can wrap it, in areas around the parameter here. So I take the scale tool here and take the keep aspect. The aspect won't remain, so you can basically stretch it out. So I can go like that. See, now just reset that. If I had that checked, if I pull it down, it's going to increase it all the way around. Actually, I might as well do that a little bit. Why not? There we go. And scale it, so now it's a little bigger. That's good. Okay, so now that's a pretty good size. Won't take too many to get that repeated around the outside. Now, I mean, if you want, you can just put it around like that. It doesn't look too bad, but I kind of like to make it so it looks as though it's going around. So one way to do that is through the filter, you go to distorts and lens distortion. But first of all, I'm going to increase the border size, because you can pull the design off the edge and you won't see it and it doesn't look good. So if I just go to the layer size and increase it a bit, center it, now the new layer will be this much wider. So I hit resize and you see how it grows like that. So now I'm going to put it back in position here, and I'm going to basically I'm going to bend it around this curve is what I'm trying to do. Go back into distorts, lens distortion. I use this all the time. It's a great tool here. But it won't do anything until you adjust certain levels. The main and the edge. So now if I go all the way, you can see how it's kind of taking the top and the bottom and it bends it down or up. And I'm going to bend it down. And the edge kind of does the same in a different way. I'm not exactly entirely positive how that works, but when I zoom in a little bit, I can make it larger. Now the curve comes from the Y shift here when I, not the Y, I'm sorry, X. As you can see how it goes back and forth, and bend it around a little bit like that, so it looks like it's supposed to be there, going around the curve of the badge. And I say okay, and move it over a little bit. And you can only go so far, so sometimes you got. I've done it twice. I've done it 3 times on some designs. Go back into distorts, lens distortion. Do basically the same process. Just increase the main and the edge a little bit. I don't think I need to zoom anymore. And maybe just a touch because it did shrink the rest. Go back to that X, and I can just move it around a little bit more. That looks pretty good, I think. Okay. And so, there you go. So now that's kind of it. Now, you know, I like to talk about the display modes. This is the mode, display mode. So you have your normal, there's the default. Something like overlay will make it look like it's sitting on the surface, and you can see the shine coming through and whatnot, which is kind of nice. What I generally do then is I increase this border around this image to the layer, to the entire the image size, so layer to image size. Now that border has become the same border as the one around the badge. And by doing that, I can, if I duplicate it, so now I've got 2 of them there, and I just go to layer, transform, and I flip that horizontally, and I've got it on the same spot on the other side. And, you know, if you merge those down, now that's 1 layer. Oops, I made the mistake of having them on a display mode. Got to remember not to do that if you're trying to, if you have it on 2 display modes, it'll remove one of them. So I'm just going to undo what I just did. Undo, merge down. Okay, there, now it's back. So now, instead of overlay, go back to normal. And on both of them, otherwise that one will disappear as well. So now we're good. Now when I merge it down, it becomes 1 layer. So I turn it off and see how that works. If I duplicate that, now I've got more. And since it is the same size as the image, if I want to rotate that around, I can do it in such a way that it'll remain on the outside border like that. And rotate, so there it is. Now, like about there. Okay, so go back to scale it to the image size. Now, if I take that layer and duplicate it to keep it uniform, now see I've got a duplicate. There's 2 of the same layer. Alright, so I'll take the top one, and if I go to layer, transform, and flip that horizontally, now that's going to be perfectly in the same spot on the opposite side. So now this is symmetrical. And you can, you know, you can put a different design on up there, or however you want to do that. I just merge those down so they're all 1 layer. And there, got that. Say you want to add a gradient to this. So what I do is add a transparent layer, which is right here. I set up my guide so I can go from the center perfectly by percent, going at 50% horizontal, and I do that same thing again. guides, new guides by percent, 50% vertical. And now I have it centered. Okay. If I alpha, I'm on the tattoo layer right now, and I go alpha to selection, so I'm selecting the shape, and turn that off however you want. This is the transparent layer I added, so this is an empty layer, there's nothing there. Go into the gradient tool, and I'll show you, this thing sat idle in here for the first year that I used this, and I didn't discover how. It's called GPS, it's part of the GPS. It's an add-on, but this little steel bar is got some amazing techniques you can do with it, because it's much more complex than it looks. But it's a bar, so if I pull it down now, it's going to be a straight line. If I want to change it to a radial, I change the shape right here. I'm gonna offset it a little bit, but being that it's already narrow as it is, I don't want to go too much in the middle. Hold the control key down and you go straight. Now you can see the gradient being added there slowly. Okay, let's just see what that looks like. Select none, and now you've got a gradient added to it. So that white line that was there a little while ago is gone, so it's no big deal. That looks pretty good. The thing about GPS steel bars is this gradient is a lot more complex than it looks. It's got it reacts really cool to a lot of different effects. And one I like to use, colors, you go into map, and you hit alien map, and I mean it changes it to quite a different look. And I like it like this. I haven't even really messed with these. That looks fine as far as I'm concerned, but first of all I'm going to make a copy of it, just because I want to keep the original gradient as well. So I've got two here. Go back to, on the top one, colors, map, alien map. I'm sorry, I don't think I said what it was, but that's it. Alien. Now I've got this cool looking gradient on there. But it looks like a solid piece. It doesn't look like a tattoo. It doesn't look like it's sitting on the surface. So different display modes make it look like it is. Overlay being one, although it didn't really affect this one much. It affects different tones and colors differently. Darken only. It still looks like it could be sitting on top. Go right here. That's okay, well, that's a little bit better. So anyway, that's that technique. Another cool one is that I like to use is go into the gradients as well. Instead of a radial, go down here to spiral, either clockwise or counterclockwise, doesn't really matter, that I've noticed. And make sure to go alpha to selection. So I'm selecting that shape again. You can turn that layer off. Make sure that you open a new layer and you're affecting a blank new layer, otherwise what you've got there you'll mess it up. You'll put the new gradient on that, and you might have a happy mistake, but more often than not, that's not the case. Now I find with this one, the farther in I go, sometimes the better, because all I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag the mouse just a little bit like that, and you can hardly see it. But if you look real close, you can see they're probably this gradient. Oh, that's not normal. So what it did was it took that steel bars gradient and it kind of broke it up into this more like a series of waves, and sometimes it can look real cool. I'm not sure if this one worked out so well. Let's try another one. So I'm going to add another little transparency, and we'll try a different gradient here. Say just for fun, I have no idea. I don't know if I've done a gold one. I'm going to turn the other one off, so make sure you're on the right layer. And, yeah. So, can be cool, you never know. And this one reacts, see, I mean, this is kind of cool. Reacts quite differently to the display modes. So let's just deselect it here and see how that works out. Like say overlay is usually the first one I try, because it actually looks, now see, it looks like it's sitting on the surface. You know, it looks like it's going down into this valley and then up on the side like that. So yeah, that one looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna get rid of the excess stuff though, that's flowing off the side here. So I just go up with the circular selection tool, and then I kind of move it to the outer edge as much as I can. You can feather the edge if you want. Maybe we'll add a little bit. Oh, it already has 5 pixels will be feathered, which is good. So now if I hit clear now, it's going to erase everything inside this circle. So instead I go to selection, invert, and now it's selecting the outside of that circle, and if I hit clear, and then it's gone. Select none. So now it looks more like, basically like a tattoo, like what I was aiming for. This also reacts well with other layers. So, you know, and then you mess around with the different display modes, and you never know what you're going to get sometimes. But so that's that. I'm gonna, what I did was the ones that I made, I have down here. So yeah, there's a Mandalorian, the design tattoo. Here's another one I did that kind of like that one spiral tattoo. And so I'm gonna put a bunch in there. This one's pretty cool. Let me put the badge back, and I'll show you what it kind of looks like. Get it up there. So it's a little skull on there, and yeah. So these will be available now. Well, as soon as I load them up, probably in the next 10 minutes or so. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.